my little Gorfians, welcome back to another video. Today we will be discussing what kind of app you should use if you're new to digital art. So today we're going to be going over two in particular, Procreate Pocket Edition, which is the one I use currently, and then Medibang Pro, I believe is how it's pronounced. I'll put up the logos on the screen, and let's get into it. So first I want to just discuss, I started digital art in 2020, and at that time I was about 13 years old. I had been drawing prior to the time I started, but it was mostly traditional art. So I started out with, believe it or not, I started out with a note app on my phone that let me draw. So shortly after that, I also started with IBS Paint X, I think it was the free one. So I started out with that. It was a slow learning process, and these are old pieces you can see from when I first started Procreate. So the one you're seeing currently is my first ever drawing, and then I have the second one playing next. These were both Keith from Voltron, and then you can see my actual first attempt at Procreate. At the time I wasn't the best, and I honestly hated Procreate at first because I didn't understand anything. I didn't know where anything was, and it definitely took a year or so to get used to the software. So let's get into the first drawing. So this, I'm using Procreate Pocket Edition. Let's go over some pros and cons that I have found over the years to the software. So we're going to start with the cons of Procreate Pocket Edition. It doesn't have a lot of the features that Procreate does. So I often find myself missing out on a lot of the cool features that Procreate has that Procreate Pocket does not have, which is a little sad. Plus the layer limit, and the layers are limited. You can only have so many layers per piece, so I have learned to basically draw with only like 3 layers at most half of the time, and it sucks. It's definitely the biggest drawback, and the reason why I want to find a better drawing site or platform for mobile that is accessible and free, because I cannot afford any like subscriptions or anything like that. So for Procreate Pocket Edition, I say you're getting what you paid for. It's like $5. It's been a while since I got it, so I am not sure, but it's like around the $5 mark, and for $5 it's a good software. I mean, you get it permanently, you never have to make payments or anything like that. It is a good choice if you're on a budget and you can't be affording like a Clip Studio Paint mobile. You know, it's good for what it is, but I do have a problem with the limited layers, and your piece gets very pixelated when you like zoom in too much. It's not noticeable from afar, but still, I just don't like the personal pixelization. It annoys the shit out of me, and it's definitely a big con. But other than that, I really like Procreate Pocket Edition. Moving on to the pros, I like the selection tool and being able to fill things. The bucket tool isn't the best, but I love the smudge brush. It works the best, and I haven't found a software that has a better one. So overall, Procreate Pocket Edition is a good bang for your buck. Let's talk a little bit about the piece, and I will show you the finished product at the end, but that's all I'm probably going to show for this one for now. But this piece is just something random I wanted to do. Most of these pieces are. I don't think they'll ever come up in the future, so these are just pieces I've done in the process of trying to figure out, okay, what exactly do I like about the software I'm using and stuff like that. like I said, the limited layers is the only big problem I've run into over the years of using Procreate, and the fact that it is a little bit hard to understand at first, but once you get the hang of it, Procreate Pocket Edition, it is definitely easier to draw on. And I definitely like doing line art and stuff like that in the software, and you can get free custom brushes if you search it up in Google. You can go to a site and there's a bunch of free brushes that enhance your experience. Finding the right brush can be very important, but yeah, we'll be moving on to Medibang Pro now. Okay, so with this one, I had the exact opposite experience I did with Procreate. I learned the controls and everything pretty quickly. There's a few buttons I still don't know what exactly they do, but it will take a couple times to get used to the layout. Some things I like about this is the coloring process. It has a really good watercolor brush that I really enjoy. There are a lot of downsides, and I'll get into that later, not now. Another thing is there are no limit to layers. At least I don't think so, because I haven't run into any issues with that. So that is another good thing. A downfall to this is it does not record your speed paints. You have to do that yourself, which sucks because I forgot. I thought I was recording the whole first half of this drawing, and I wasn't. So I was just bummed out completely. I almost gave up because I kept forgetting to record important moments and parts in the speed paint. So I was definitely bummed. Again, I love the software. It's amazing and it's free. The only thing is there's no really good select tool. It doesn't work nearly as good as Procreate. In fact, I don't even know how to use it. It's just not the best. I don't like it. You have to use a brush for blur. There is no specific blur option. You just have to go and change your brush that you're using to a blur brush in order to blend anything out. Another thing I noticed is that I had a 5 minutes left today, so that means that it does time how long you take, and you can only be on the software for a certain amount of time per day. So that is very sucky, but it is a free app, so I can't really complain too much about it. It's good for what it is, and it's free. There's no ads when you're in it like there is in IBX Paint. It is definitely a good option if you want a free drawing site, and if you can deal with time limits on how long you can draw on it during the day. So I do recommend it. The only other thing I want to note, according to the time limit, I do not know how long it is. I just know I got a pop-up when I was drawing that says I only had 5 minutes left, so I don't know if it exactly means that it has a time limit or not, but it very well may. We'll see. But it could also be a good thing if you want to learn how to limit the time you take to draw every day, and if you want to do something really simple and all the good stuff. I do really highly recommend this. There wasn't too many issues besides the time limit and the select tool. I absolutely adore coloring in this. I am not sure about rendering yet, because as of now, I have not done any rendering whatsoever. But I will continue to work on these pieces, and I will let you know how it goes. Okay, so I'm recording this part as I am actually working on the piece rendering wise, and I'm going to say there has been a few
cons that have popped up during this whole time. The blur brushes do not work the best if you are a heavy renderer like I am. If you don't like those hard edges on your, and you prefer a simple, softer look, you are going to have a difficult time with these brushes, as I found that it does blur exactly like IBX Paint with both of the blur and the smudge tool. It's not nearly as nice as Procreate Pockets, so if you are looking for something with a better smudge tool, I highly recommend Procreate Pocket in this regard, because I've not found a smudge tool I like better. And then another thing is with it is, since you have to change your brush to a smudge brush whenever you want to use it, I oftentimes, more than not, forget about it, and then I'm trying to draw with a smudge brush, which is just weird. Make it its own little section. Don't have it be in the same section as a normal brush. It just makes it so much easier for everybody involved. But other than that, I haven't found really too many cons in this app. For a free app, it's definitely better than what I was originally expecting it to be. I wasn't going into this thinking, oh, I'm going to praise this app a bunch. It wasn't on my mind at all. In fact, I thought I'd hate a lot of the features, because that's usually how I am with the free apps, because there's always a bunch of cons to using them, because like I said, it's a free app. They don't give you as much stuff as, say, one that you have to pay for. Just like how Clip Studio Paint, you have 50 million more options than you do in Procreate Pocket. And in normal Procreate, not Pocket, you have way more options because it's way more expensive. And yes, I get it, you get what you pay for, but it's also kind of sucky that a lot of younger artists, if they can't afford a good drawing app, have to struggle with the limited features. Of course, that helps in some people's regards because they learn how to deal with it on their own, but for others who really wanted those features, it kind of sucks. And I haven't yet to find a smudge brush on a free platform that works as well as Procreate's does, which I just feel bad for the people who cannot afford Procreate Pocket or Procreate, because like I said, it sucks. And that's why I wanted to go into this, trying to find something that people can have a similar experience to Procreate, if they don't have the money, because Procreate is a slightly better platform, in my opinion, software, in my opinion, to draw on, compared to most of the other free apps. So, that being said, if you can deal with all that, Medibang Pro is definitely going to be your free app that you want to use. You can even change the layout to your liking. There's an option to pick where you want each button to be, so you can have an easier time. Although you can end up with something on your canvas like I did, and I had to figure out how to remove that because I did not want 2 menu buttons. There are a lot of downsides, but again, it's a free app. You can't really expect much from them. And I think Medibang Pro has definitely knocked it out of the park with the features that it does give you. Another thing I forgot to mention is when you're up and close to your painting, it does pixelate it. But when you're farther away, you can't really tell about the pixelation. So it's definitely, like I said, I don't like the pixelization, but it's tolerable at very least. So yeah, I just wanted to jump in and say that.
But other than that, I didn't really have any issues with Medibang. It's good for what it is, like I've been saying. I do like all the options you get when playing with colors and stuff like that. I have to check out a lot of them. But back to Procreate, I do use it more often. I don't think I'll use Medibang as much just because I don't like the timers. I'll probably stick to Procreate for a lot of it. If anything, I'll go to Medibang when I want to do color editing or putting down my base colors, and then I'll probably use a mix of both if we are being honest here. But that's pretty much all I really have to say for this video, so let's get into some other things. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like my content. Leave a comment suggesting anything you want me to talk about, rant on, or anything like that. I do have a story I'm working on writing, so if you guys want me to post weekly videos of me going over like the storyline I got for my horror comic, not a comic but my horror story that I'm making, I can read while I draw characters from it or anything like that if you guys want. If you guys like this video, there's a good chance you like my other videos on Let's Struggle Together, so I would definitely go check them out if you enjoyed this video. Please I appreciate like everything you guys do, and I thank you so much for like 30 subscribers. I'm freaking out. But yes, that's all I really have to say for today. Oh goodness, I forgot what I was gonna say. But anyway, yeah, please let me know if you like the idea of me reading my comic, my Wattpad story that I have in the works while drawing in the background. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. You are so loved and important. Please know that I am proud of you. Have a lovely rest of your day, my little gore fiends. And that is the end of today's video. Gore Lover out.